What's up, and welcome to episode number 56 of the Ex-Boyfriend Recovery Podcast. Excited to have you here today. As always, we are recording from cameras as well as recording from a nice sounding microphone here. So if you want to not listen, but maybe watch yours truly record this podcast and answer the question that we're going to feature today, go ahead and hop onto our YouTube channel. You can find our YouTube channel by simply going to youtube.com, typing in my name, Chris Seiter, and that is Seiter with an S-E-I-T-E-R. A lot of people think my last name is Seiter for some reason, and I can understand why, but as goofy as this sounds, even though I took flack from it when I was a kid, my last name is like apple cider. That's an easy way to remember it. So, before I get started today, because we have an amazing episode planned for you, I want to give you an announcement. We have decided to go ahead and do free live coaching. And if you remember, if you are an avid follower, let's get in the DeLorean from, Back to the Future and go back in time, go back to some of our earlier episodes. I mentioned a lot that I was really wanting to do coaching, specifically paid coaching. But the more I went around in my head with it, I wanted to do free coaching. I want to help you out more. I think money, if you help people, money just takes care of itself. So if you are interested in the free coaching, all you're going to have to do is let me know in the comments section of the show notes of this episode. Now, you can find the show notes of this episode if you go to www.exboyfriendrecovery.com/episode 56, since obviously this is episode number 56. Okay, so how is this coaching going to work? Well, the way it's going to work is I do not want you to use your real name. Privacy is really important to us here at Ex-Boyfriend Recovery. We want to make sure that you feel protected and safe. So we don't want you to use your real name or your ex-boyfriend's real name. You can make up whatever name you want. We can refer to you as anonymous, but you do have to realize that we will be recording the call because we want to give multiple millions of people access to these sessions so they can feel like they are you, I guess, and put themselves in your shoes and feel like they're getting advice with you. So how is this going to work? Well, probably what we're going to end up doing is we're going to jump on Skype. Now, I want to be clear. Your face will not be shown. So we'll just do a Skype call, and I will simply record the Skype call. And beforehand, I think you and I will talk a little bit. We'll communicate through email. We'll talk a little bit about your situation because I don't want to come in unprepared. I think preparation is key when it comes to getting an ex-boyfriend back. And that applies to me as well. So essentially, we'll get on Skype, we'll talk, we'll go back and forth, hopefully about 30 to 40 minutes. I'll give you a really good idea of what to do. I'll draw up a game plan for you. And we will be recording, so I just want to be upfront and honest with you. My intention is to post these live sessions on the website, on the podcast, and on our YouTube channel. Now, with the YouTube channel, we will just be doing recorded things like you're seeing here now with me, as well as showing our Skype conversation, but your face will not be shown. That's important. I want to make that clear. So your privacy is protected and no one can figure out who you are. So now that I've rambled on for far too long, like I tend to do, let's get down to business with episode number 56. He cheated on me multiple times.
Hi, Chris. My name is Christina. My ex-boyfriend cheated on me, and it's a very difficult situation because he is a police officer and the young woman was much, much younger, and she was a police explorer, so it was against his work policies. I told the department because I felt so disgusted, but the truth is I really want him back. I want to support him through this time. And this isn't the first time he's cheated on me, but I still love him, and it's been about 3 weeks no contact, and I don't know what to do. I really want to talk to him, but I think he doesn't want to talk to me. So I'm just hoping to have a fourth shot at this. If you can help me, please respond. Thank you.
All right, I want to thank you, Christina, for commenting, or rather leaving this voicemail for us. We really appreciate it. I know it takes a lot of courage, so I always like to thank the people who leave voicemails for us, because it does take a lot of courage to kind of let everything fly out there and open yourself up to, I guess, receiving advice or my thoughts on your situation. So let's do a quick recap of what is going on. Seems like you found yourself in a very, very difficult situation, very painful for you. So I want to do everything I can to relieve some of that pain, give you an idea of my thoughts on your breakup, my thoughts on your relationship from everything that you've outlined so far. And also I'm going to tell you what I would do if I was in your situation, I guess, and a little bonus after that. Okay, Christina, your name is Christina. Okay, pretty simple, right? Your ex-boyfriend has cheated on you. He is a police officer, which is interesting, and he cheated on you with a younger woman, particularly a woman who was a police explorer, which, if you don't know what that is, it's essentially like women, or I guess a person who wants to become a police officer, goes and tours and spends a few days in the police officer. It's sort of like those ride-along type things. It's for people considering a career in law enforcement. And if you don't know what police explorer is, don't feel bad. I actually had to look it up myself. So he cheated on you with a police explorer, and you were so upset that you told the department out of disgust, which I can't imagine felt too good for him when he found out that maybe he's going to get fired, perhaps, which we'll talk about in a minute. So right now you're in your third week of no contact, and then at the end you said something really interesting to me. You want a fourth shot at this. Now, that struck me as really interesting, because to me it seems like you mentioned that this wasn't the first time that he had cheated on you. I'm assuming that he's cheated on you multiple times, perhaps 4 times, and you've broken up multiple times. So, I have some good news and I have some bad news. Which would you like to hear first? Well, let's start with the good news first. The good news first is the fact that you have been in this on and off relationship so much. History is in your favor of getting him back. Now here's the bad news. Personally, I think a man who has cheated this many times, it's a pattern now. And even if you do get him back, I'm pretty sure that the pattern won't end. So, when I was listening to your situation, I took down a few notes. And here are the notes I took down, and I think you'll find them really fascinating. Note number one, he probably feels that he can get away with the cheating. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I mean, since you have taken him back, he's obviously cheated on you multiple times, right? Let's go out of our way and assume that he's cheated on you a total of 4 times. So he's cheated on you 4 times, and you've taken him back every single time. Well, every single time that you've taken him back, you have essentially enabled him. You have enabled his addiction of cheating on you. He thinks he can get away with anything, and that's not a good thing to portray. And it's certainly, I think it contributes to his pattern of cheating on you. Now, the second note I took down is obviously the multiple cheating is now a pattern, which I just discussed. But this is a really big problem because it impacts you in the future. Let's say that everything goes perfectly and you get your ex-boyfriend back. Well, the problem is he's already established a pattern of cheating. Yes, I realize human beings make mistakes. I realize that. And people do deserve second chances, but people do not deserve fourth chances. You know, the second chance, ideally, one of my favorite quotes, I guess, is, I believe in second chances, but I don't believe in third. I truly believe that quote, and that is something that I think that you potentially need to adopt, because the fact that you've kept taking him back after he kept cheating on you is enabling that behavior, and it's created a pattern where he thinks he's essentially Superman and can get away with anything. There's no repercussions for his actions. So the third note, this is kind of funny. Third note I took was police explorer definition. So I just basically wanted to define what the police explorer was, because I didn't know what it was, and I always am fascinated by things that I don't know. The fourth and the final note that I took, particularly my initial thoughts, was the fact that you reported him puts you in a very tough position. So let's forget about the cheating for a second and just focus on the breakup. You found out he was cheating on you with this younger woman who was a police explorer. I'm assuming she's probably 19, 20 years old. He's much older, maybe in his 30s. You were so disgusted by this fact that you went to his boss and reported him. Now, that's a major problem for him because not only will he probably lose his job, let me rephrase that. He absolutely should lose his job. He should. Will he? I don't know. There's a lot of different thoughts on this. He probably should lose his job. But eventually he is going to find out that you did report him, and it is going to put you in that position of the crazy ex-girlfriend. So in other words, I know it was out of hurt. I know it was out of anger that you told on him, but it is not going to help you to get him back. Now, let's talk a little bit about why I think he is cheating on you so many times. All right, if you're familiar with me or if you've watched my podcast before, you probably know that when it comes to cheating, I am not an expert, and I don't claim to be one. I do know quite a bit because I've seen the situation happen so many times, and I've figured out kind of what works versus what doesn't work, but I always love to refer people to my favorite expert on cheating. Her name is Esther Perel. She's a world-renowned psychotherapist who works with people, specifically married couples who have undergone affairs. And she's learned some fascinating things from working with thousands of people who have cheated. She's kind of learned to understand why they do what they do. And I came across a really cool interview when I was researching your particular situation, Christina, to try to understand, well, why does your ex-boyfriend keep cheating on you? And I came across this really amazing article from Esther Perel, and I'll make sure that I take a note to link to that article in the show notes of this episode so you can read it for yourself. But the gist of the article was that primarily human beings have two needs. They have two needs when they get into a relationship. Need number one is they have a need for excitement, adventure, and mystery, right? We need that as human beings. We need excitement. We need adventure. We need some mystery in our partner. Of course, need number two, we have a need for reliability and stability. Now, essentially what we have here are two needs on the opposite ends of the spectrum. Excitement, adventure, mystery. There's nothing usually stable about that. There's something unstable about that. And then, of course, you have stability and reliability. There is nothing adventurous about that. So here's what I think is happening in your particular situation, Christina. I think it really outlines what this, two need factor or theory is perfectly. I think it really highlights that. So your ex-boyfriend has cheated on you multiple times. So what I think is he has those two needs. He has, on one hand, the need for adventure and excitement and mystery. But on the other hand, he has a need for reliability and stability. Now here's the thing. With you, he is only getting one of those needs. Now, do you care to guess which need he's getting? Probably if I were to take a guess. And I don't know you personally, but I'm guessing since he keeps coming back to you and he keeps cheating on you, he thinks that you're reliable and stable. And that would seem to connect with the fact that you let him get away with the cheating. There's no, repercussions for the cheating. And he keeps coming back to you after he's exhibited this pattern, right? So essentially what's happening here is he's cheating on you because he knows for a fact that you're reliable and you're stable, but you don't have maybe every bit of adventure and excitement and mystery that he needs. So what he does is he has you as an anchor. You are his reliable and stable girlfriend. Right now you're his ex-girlfriend, obviously. Then he goes out and cheats on you because he needs the other need fulfilled. He needs excitement, adventure. And that's where all these other women come into play. I mean, think about it from his perspective. You are the type of girl that he would probably see himself marrying. The problem is he doesn't want to marry you because he thinks then he will never have that excitement, adventure, and mystery again, which is completely wrong. Studies have actually shown that married couples have a lot more sex than single couples or single people. So what's happening is he finds these new women, right? Especially, it's like trademark or perfectly described here with this police explorer, this young woman. There's nothing more exciting, right? He's trying to get that need fulfilled from that young woman. Now, here's my opinion. My opinion is he's cheated on you multiple times. It's a pattern, and my opinion, and I don't want to hurt your feelings, and I realize this may. My opinion is that you should not get him back. You shouldn't try. I think eventually you're going to find yourself in this self-fulfilling prophecy where you break up with him, you miss him, you want him back, you get him back, he cheats on you. You get hurt, you break up with him, you miss him, you want him back, you get him back, he cheats on you. That has happened 4 times already. I don't think you should subject yourself to that. That is like literally mental torture. But I realize that oftentimes when I tell people, hey, you probably shouldn't try to get this ex-boyfriend back, they really don't care and they still try to get them back. And oftentimes when I say, hey, don't get that ex-boyfriend back, and they obviously ignore my advice and try to get him back, what ends up happening is they end up trying to get their ex-boyfriend back, but they don't go about it the right way. They don't use any of the strategies that I teach. They don't employ anything that I teach. And that's a problem. So here's what I'm going to do for you. My bonus to you, because I realize probably no matter what I say, you're going to still try to get him back. That's fine. I know that happens. What I really want you to do is I don't think you're going to have any trouble getting him back, personally. You've already done it multiple times. He does see you as that reliable and stable force in his life. But where you're running wrong is keeping him interested, keeping him committed. And that's because he has to seek the adventure, mystery, and excitement from some other woman. So I think if you were to get him back, or even if you're working to get him back, show him that not only are you stable and reliable, but that you can work in this mystery and excitement and adventure into the relationship. That is probably the best way to keep him connected. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Being cheated on it's not easy to get your ex back a lot of times. You're in a unique position because most of the women who come to ex-boyfriend recovery want advice on how to get their ex-boyfriends back because they've cheated on their ex-boyfriends. On the other hand, you're coming to ex-boyfriend recovery because you want your ex-boyfriend back because he cheated on you. Now, I don't want you to fall into the trap of this self-fulfilling prophecy that I described to you. So what I really want you to do is focus on the mystery and excitement and adventure, but also focus on the idea of moving on without moving on. We've seen incredible success stories, incredible results with women who employ this. Essentially, the way to move on without moving on is understanding that truly deep down you want your ex-boyfriend back. But you understand that right now probably the best way to get him back is to simply move on. And what you do utilizing that mindset is you don't waste any time. You're using your time wisely. You're not obsessing about your ex-boyfriend as much as most women out there do when they go through a breakup. And at the same time, you are moving on. You are showing personal growth. You are improving yourself. You're feeling good about yourself, and you're truly killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Not only do you appear more attractive to him, but you start to get over the breakup in case things don't go right for you, in case things don't work for you. So that's going to do it for episode number 56. Just to recap, patterns are not good, especially when it comes to cheating. Some patterns are good. I take it back. But when it comes to cheating, a pattern is not good. And then people generally need 2 things out of a relationship. They have 2 desires, 2 needs. Number 1 is the need or desire for stability, commitment, and reliability. Number 2, the need number 2 is the ability for adventure, mystery, and excitement. We need those 2 things out of a relationship to be truly happy. And oftentimes what happens when someone cheats, it's because they're getting one need met somewhere, but maybe another need met elsewhere with someone different. So keep that in mind as you're trying to get your ex-boyfriend back. Even if your ex-boyfriend hasn't cheated or there's no cheating involved at all, still he will have those needs for excitement, adventure, and mystery, as well as reliability and stability. So make sure you hit on all of those needs. This has been a blast. I had a really great time filming this and recording this. I'll see you next week.